backyard grilling, cooking up some barbecue for you. T-Roy's chilling in the backyard grilling, showing you that you can cook it too. Always with a beer or whiskey, but he cooks responsibly.
Hey everybody, welcome to T-Roy Cooks. Welcome to another Tuesday chat with old T-Roy. I appreciate you joining in. Man, I sure am getting a lot of followers on these chats, man. I do appreciate it. And if it's your first time here, this is where I answer your questions. So if you got a question for me, just ask it in the comments section right down below the video. And I usually put some pretty good information in the description box. So if you want to figure out some stuff to, some of the stuff I may use in my videos and whatnot, plus where the questions and the answers and stuff are in the video, just check out the description box. Hit show more right down below, and that will open the description box. Let you see all that great info I put in there for you. Man, it's still sweltering hot out here, man. Hope everybody's doing all right. Hope everybody's having a great week. Oh, you know what? I'm going to Keith Bed Tags next weekend, and this coming weekend. And when I get back from that, I'm immediately going on some road trips and stuff. So I'm probably going to be out of pocket for 2 or 3 weeks. Just to give y'all a heads up, I won't be putting up any chat videos or any cooking videos. Well, I think I'll put one up this Thursday, but after that, it may be 2 or 3 weeks before I put any more videos out. So hope y'all oblige me. It's time for a little vacation. How about that? Oh, even old T-Roy needs a little vacation. Oh, and what are we drinking, man? Tell you what, first time I saw this beer in the store, it's another local Texas beer. It's from Conroe, Texas. That's right around where Lone Star Grills is made, right around Conroe, Texas, y'all. Real pretty area of the country, the state. This is Southern Star Brewing Company. There you go. And this is a pretty good looking little label on there. This is Bombshell Blonde Ale. Bombshell Blonde Ale. Really pretty, man. We're gonna give it a shot. See what it's like. I've never tried it before. Get back over here. Now the questions I'm answering today are questions from a couple of weeks ago. There you go, man. Cheers. I like that. That's really good. It's not over hoppy, man. I don't like my hoppy beers anymore. So it doesn't have that bitterness to it. Tastes like it may have some maybe a slightly sweet, like maybe some honey or something in it. I don't know. And I just bought it too, like an hour ago, so it could stand to be a little colder. But let's get to these questions. Thanks again for everybody who asked the questions. And again, if you got a question for me, just put it down in the comment section below. If I don't get to it within a couple, 2 or 3 chats, just go ahead and ask it again. Because a lot of times I only go back a couple of chats to pull the questions. But thanks to all you who have put questions down there. First one we got is from Michael B. Michael, I appreciate your support there, man. And let's see what kind of question. Looks like it's going to be a long one, y'all. Hang on. He says, hey, T-Roy, cheers. Hey, cheers to you there, Michael. You know what's really cool? This cooking community, not just YouTube creators like me. I've got some great friends out there that also put out videos. But all of you fine folks out there, man, I can't thank you guys enough. It's like when I read these questions and I read your name out, it's like I know you, like you could be my neighbor or something, So we've conversed back and forth on the comments, back and forth, and sometimes on Facebook and whatnot. So it's like I'm just talking to friends. So I appreciate that. Thanks to everybody. Michael says, hey, T-Roy, cheers. So a couple of months ago, I went down to the barbecue supply store to pick up a couple of rubs, and the sales manager mentioned Jealous Devil. He said it was some lump charcoal called Jealous Devil on sale. He says he has all 3 WSM sizes and 3 Weber Kettle sizes, along with the garage stack full of Kingsford Blue. And he explained to the manager he had no need for any charcoal. The manager then assured me that if I would take a bag of the Devil home and smoke with it, that I'd never use another brick yet again, and he'd give me my money back without question. Well, I never went back and got my money from this guy, but I do have 24 bags of Kingsford Blue for sale in Wisconsin if anybody's interested. There you go. He says, here's his question. He says, I've tried B&B lump, Rockwood, and of course Jealous Devil. What's your favorite lump charcoal, brother Troy? So far, mine is the Devil by a long shot. Best steak cooking lump in my opinion. It is expensive, but absolutely worth every penny. What charcoal do you prefer to smoke with? And thanks, and have a good day, my friend. Oh, and tell Karen hello. So I sure will. I appreciate that, Michael. I saw the Jealous Devil. In fact, I meant to stop by their booth and get me a bag of to try when I went to that expo with Justin and Greg from Ballistic Barbecue. So I meant to go back there and do that, but I didn't. But we did get to see Harry Sue cooking on it. We tasted some of the food that Harry was cooking, and Harry was using it in a. I think he was using it in the Kamado, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it was good. It was good. It is pricey, but I haven't tried any here at my house myself, so I don't know. Well, I'll give me some and try it out. But mainly what I like to do is get B&B lump. I like that a lot. And for just regular charcoal, Kings for Blue, you know. But appreciate the question. Thanks, Michael. Next question is from Jason Hobbs. He says, do you clean the inside of your smokers besides just the grates? If so, what do you use? And have you done a video on this? No, I haven't done a video on it. Usually I just wash it out, man, you know, with a hose. I don't put any solvent or cleaner or anything on the inside. Now I will take like some Simple Green or something like that and clean the outside, but for the inside, no, I'm putting food in there. I don't want any kind of solvent and stuff in there. But yeah, so I usually just hose it out. Once it starts getting a little dirty, I may scrape if it's got some crusties in there, you know, I may scrape it with a brush, but I don't clean it, you know what I mean? Just hose it out and drain all that water out and I'm good to go, you know? So, and yeah, I do, once the cooker's up to temp, then I scrape the grill grates down just because it sanitizes them, you know? Knock off all the barbecue sauce and sugars and stuff. Appreciate that, Jason. Cheers to you, man. Great question. Ooh, it's windy out here, y'all. I'm glad it's windy. Man, when it's not windy, that heat just hits you, man. Gee whiz. Got a question from Donny Benfield. Donny says, what do you do for a living, T-Roy? Just curious, and thanks for your videos. I watch a lot of grilling videos and always enjoy yours the best. I appreciate that, Donny. Thank you very much, man. Donny, I am actually retired. I retired about 2.5 years ago, and I worked for a local internet service provider for a little over 20 years, and just decided to retire, man. And my wife told me, you know, why don't you just go full-time YouTube? And I said, okay, sounds good to me. So got to thank Karen out there for that, my pretty wife. Appreciate that, Karen. So yeah, I'm just full-time. And when I did work for the man, I was like a kind of like an engineer, I guess, on the network. I would keep hackers and stuff out of the network. It's fun. I enjoyed it, but after 20 years or so, I hope that wind's not messing with the mics too bad, y'all. It's my good friend Johnny Stuart over at Texas Barbecue and Cuisine. Let's see what he says, y'all. He actually has a question too. Pardon me while I read this. Okay. He's asking me what kind of camera I was using at his place the other day. Let me see. I think it was the Canon G7X. All right, there you go. See, get questions all the time. All us YouTubers, we're all talk amongst one another and everything. Along with talking to you guys out there. Where were we? Answered Donnie's question. Yes, we did. Okay. Next question is from Dylan Oldman. How you doing, Dylan? Dylan says, T-Roy, you have an awesome personality, man. I appreciate that, Dylan. Cheers to you, my brother. Yeah, man, that wind's... I got the fan again on me, just off that side. And that wind's blowing so hard, it's actually making my fan spin faster than what I have it set for. So, apologize for any exterior noise from the wind. Dylan says, I just dove into the barbecue hobby and I'm in love. Fabulous. Appreciate you watching, and hopefully you learning a little bit here and there from not just my channel, but others out there. All right, Dylan's question is, what got me, T-Roy, into barbecuing and grilling? Apologies if you already answered this question. Cheers, bud. Keep up the great work. You inspire me to smoke on Sundays. Very cool, Dylan. Very cool, man. And the more you cook, the better you get, and the more things you're wanting to try, and just kind of tweak it and make it your own, you know? That's what's fun about cooking. Cooking is fun, man. Y'all get out there and cook, guys and gals. I got a bunch of female followers too, man. You know, most of the guy channels out there that do cooking, the male to female split is something like 80-20, male to female. Mine's almost 50-50. Mine's probably 60-40, you know, but close to 50-50, man. So appreciate all my female cooks out there. What got me into barbecuing and grilling? Well, I did do like hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff when I was growing up in Louisiana with my dad, just over charcoal. I moved out here to Texas though, and I'd never had true barbecue. So I was like, man, this is good stuff. You know, in Louisiana, we didn't have barbecue like they do here in Texas. Had a lot of Cajun food. It was really good. A lot of fried foods and stuff. And, you know, we eat turnip greens, mustard greens, all that, you know, beans. But when I moved out here, I was really liking the barbecue, you know, when I go out to barbecue places. And I said, I think I can do better than that. So I started a channel, actually, to make videos to help my son, who was just moving out of the house. So if you look at my old videos, those are actually family recipes that I cooked and Karen cooked when he was growing up in the house. And I wanted to put those out there so that he could watch those once he got out on his own. So that's how I started my channel. But when I started the channel, I was like, I can make barbecue. So I went and got me a Weber Smoky Mountain, and I cooked on that thing until I got it figured out and got it right and started producing really good barbecue. And from that point on, I went and got me the Yoder Wichita. So I was upping my game a little bit, and I love the Wichita, still do. But now I got a Lone Star grills, and I got the Weber Kettle, and a few other little, you know, like the flip-flop grill and stuff. I got a few other grills. But I actually rarely go out to eat now because I would rather eat the food that I cook here, okay? And I know it's just me and Karen in the house now, so I usually, you know, I'll give it to Karen to take to work for her coworkers, you know, leftovers, or I'll share it with my neighbors, you know, or freeze it, you know, we can eat it later. But great question, Dylan. I appreciate that, man. Cheers to you, and happy cooking. All right, we got to get on the roll here, guys. I'm kind of meandering, talking a whole lot over here. Chicken fried barbecue. Y'all go check his channel out. It's my good friend Bill. Great to hear from you, Bill. Let's see what you got for me. He says, hey, buddy, have a question. Where would you find some good boudin in Texas? Sold at HEB, or would you order online? I usually just get it off the shelf at HEB, man, you know? You could order it online. It's going to come frozen that way, usually. And if you are going to order it online, order it from a place in Louisiana. Because it's hard to find good boudin outside of Louisiana, y'all. But, you know, the stuff they have in HEB is not terrible. Especially, I forget, like the Holler brand or something like that out of Beaumont, I think they are. Whatever company it is out of Beaumont. It's decent, you know. It's about as close as you can get without going to Louisiana, making a trip out to Louisiana, or ordering it online from a place in Louisiana. But, and if you're not familiar with boudin, it's basically like, think of a rice dressing, or like dirty rice, okay? Got ground beef and rice and bell peppers, all kind of, you know, garlic and stuff in it, and stuff all that dressing into a casing. That's what boudin is. And they put pork, they put chicken, crawfish, shrimp. They put all kind of different meats in it, you know, so you can get different flavors. Really good. Some of it's smoked, some of it's just steamed. I like the smoked myself, but it's really, really good. Really good. Great question, Bill. Great to hear from you, man. And again, y'all go check him out. Chicken fried barbecue. I'll put a link down below in the description box. Hilbert says, cheers, T-Roy. Cheers to you, Hilbert. How you doing, man? You got a couple questions, y'all. Hilbert says, to remove or not to remove fat on top of beef ribs before seasoning. That is the question. It says, I kind of feel like I need to remove it to get a good bark. What's your experience or opinion? I don't remove all of it. I leave some of it on there to help kind of keep the meat from drying out too much. But it just needs a thin layer of fat, you know. And if you see any fat that's hard, go ahead and cut that off because that's not going to render out. So just leave the soft fat on there, which you're not really going to find hard fat on ribs anyway. I'm thinking brisket in the back of my head. But yeah, if you take a lot of that fat off of there, it will let you get a better bark. Okay, you can trim all the fat off of there if you want. You may just have to spritz more often at the beginning. You know, once your rub sets up on the meat, then you can start spritzing it and kind of help keep it moist, or wrap it. You know, wrapped ribs are pretty good. All right, question 2. He says, I have had times that the bark didn't really set well on my meat. We're just talking about that, okay? He says, for example, on beef ribs, is there such a thing as adding too much water in the water pan on the way to Smoky Mountain? No, as long as it's not overflowing and getting the water into your charcoal down below the water pan, you're good. What you may be doing is starting to spritz before your rub is set. You know, you can tell when your rub is set if you scratch the rub a little bit on the meat and it doesn't come off, okay? Doesn't come off. Or if you touch it and it does come off, you need to let it cook a little bit longer to set. But once it's set, then you can scratch it and it's not, I mean, it may, a few little grains of salt or pepper may flake off, but for the most part, it's not coming off. That's when you know it's set, okay? Great questions, Hilbert. Thank you, man. Cheers to you. And sorry about Lucy hitting the table there with the chair. She likes to come hang out with me sometimes until she gets too hot and then she goes back inside in the AC. I hadn't seen little Fifi. I don't know where Fifi's at around here. She's probably in there sleeping. All right, next question's from Cal Salamanca. Sorry about that, Cal. Let's see what you got. He says, question. Any tips on getting an out-of-control Kamado back in temp? Like if it's 100 degrees over? Man, really the only way is to cut off the fire. Close the vents. If you close down that bottom vent, leave the lid closed, it's going to smolder that fire out. And it'll eventually come back down in temp. But it's going to take a long time. Those ceramics stay hot for a very long time. I actually made that mistake. I got mine about 50 degrees too hot. And I wound up not being able to shoot that video because it was starting to get dark on me. And it hadn't cooled off in time for me to get the cook going before, it had been dark out here by the time the video was done. So, no, you just have to watch it, man. Especially when it's getting real close to that target temp you want to cook at. You need to start closing them vents down, man, okay? Start just fine-tuning that bottom vent and the top vent until you get it just right where you want it, all right? If it creeps up 5 or 10 degrees, that's not a big deal, but yeah, 50 degrees or more, like you said, 100 degrees, close the vents, walk away for a few hours, and hopefully it'll calm down by then, but then you may have to restart your fire. If you let it cool off those 100 degrees and then open your vent back up, a lot of times that lump charcoal is going to be smoldering and get all that smoldery smoke in your meat, and it's not going to taste good. So you're probably better off just letting it just totally go out, cool off, and start over. But that's a good question, Cal. I appreciate that, man. Michael Harris says, anybody use TexJoy seasoning? They are out of Beaumont. Yeah, Michael, man. You know what? Sometimes whenever I'm coming back from Louisiana from visiting family, I'll actually stop. I actually stop on the Louisiana side. It's like exit on I-10. It's exit 7, exit 8. I think it's exit 7. And they got a little grocery store right off the interstate right there off I-10. And I swing in there, because it's a little small town. It's a little bitty town. And just one grocery store, maybe one red light. So I go in there and get my TexJoy seasonings, man. And I absolutely love their seafood seasoning. Really, really good. I've actually used TexJoy on some of my, on some videos, And if you're not familiar with it, it's Tex, T-E-X, Joy, J-O-Y. TexJoy seasonings out of Beaumont, Texas. They're not widespread. They had them for a short time here in Austin at my local HEB, but I don't see them on the shelf anymore, so I guess they didn't get enough people to buy it. But it's very, very good. And I did pork tasso. I did some pork tasso one time, and I'll put that video up here for you guys. I used TexJoy on that pork tasso. Really, really good. Anyway, great question. Cheers to you. Next question is from JP Herring. How you doing, JP? Cheers to you, bro. This beer is really good, y'all. First time I've had any beer from Southern Belle Brewing, I think is what it is. Southern Star Brewing. All right, JP, what you got for me, man? He says, I love the show, T-Roy. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate that, JP. Couldn't do it without you guys out there, so thank you. All right, he's got a couple of questions. The first one from JP says, can you explain the differences or benefits of a Santa Maria style cooking? You're cooking over real wood, so you actually get like a campfire flavor in your meat, which I happen to love, you know. Plus, you get the wood popping. You get to see the fire because it's out in the open, you know. See the flames dancing around and stuff, kissing the meat. And you can cook hot and fast, lowering the grate close to the fire. You can cook low and slow, raising the grate up. So you got all kind of different types of cooking you can do on it. You can cook indirect, you can cook direct. I love it. The flavor alone is the reason I would suggest you get a Santa Maria. Just from the flavor of the meat that comes off a Santa Maria grill. It's phenomenal, folks. Love it, love it. What you had for me? Question 2 from JP. All right, JP says, I've got a 22-inch kettle, and I want to know if I need a Slow N Sear. I currently use an 18-inch Weber Smoky Mountain for smoking. And cheers to you. Yeah, cheers again to you, JP. Appreciate the questions, man. If you've got a Weber Smoky Mountain 18, I don't really think you would need to get a Slow N Sear for your kettle unless you just want to try a little bit slightly different smoke flavor. Or if you want to sear steaks, really sear steaks like I've shown, was it the cold something method from Adrenaline Barbecue? Cold grate method, I think. Anyway, getting off track. Also, if you got the 22-inch Weber kettle, if you did get the Slow N Sear, you'd be able to put a full rack of ribs across it, whereas you can't really do that too good on the 18-inch Weber Smoky Mountain. A lot of times you have to put the rib racks in a rack to hold them and kind of fold them, you know, kind of bend them, or cut them in half, you know, so that they'll fit across the grate. So I like the 22-inch size Weber Smoky Mountain because of that. But man, it's just personal preference, you know. I would say if you do mainly grilling, then yeah, go ahead and get the Slow N Sear, because you don't just have to use it for smoking, you can use it for grilling. You know, indirect cooking basically. And it's stainless steel. It's not gonna rust out on you and stuff. It's really good quality stainless steel. Plus it's got a water trough in it, so it'll help even your temps in your kettle and help maintain those temps more easy than if you didn't have the water pan. But you can always just use some bricks, you know, get you a pan of water, one of them aluminum pans, you know, that you like put macaroni and cheese or something for a barbecue in. Use one of them, you know, just cheap aluminum pans, put you some water in there and put that under your grill grate. And you got a water barrier in there to help introduce moisture, and introducing moisture helps with the bark. So it's just personal preference. I happen to have both Weber Smoky Mountain and a kettle with the Slow N Sear because I make cooking videos and I want to show you guys out there that have those things, you know, what you can do with them. Or if you don't have one, you want to see how they work, you know, I'm showing you that on video as well. So that's the real reason. I will say I use my Weber kettle with either the Slow N Sear or the Santa Maria grill from Gabby's Grill. I use that a whole lot more than my Weber Smoky Mountain. Just my own personal preference, you know. I just love the flavor that I get, especially the Santa Maria grill, but also the Slow N Sear. You do get almost the same smoke flavor as you would on the Weber Smoky Mountain. Weber Smoky Mountain, slight advantage to that smoke flavor in your meat, but not much, okay? Appreciate the questions, JP. Whew, man, I'm talking a lot today. But maybe it's because you guys out there, y'all needed to know this stuff. I don't know. I'm just here to help you guys out, and I appreciate all you help me out too. Next question is from Eric Brown. He says, "Hi T-Roy, how you doing?" Says he's planning to cook for a family get-together. He's going to do a couple of butts and a brisket on a 22-inch rubber smoky mountain. Where would you recommend for placement on the butts top or bottom rack? And any other hints or tips would be appreciated. I love your channel. Appreciate that, Eric. Thank you very much, man. For beef and pork, I would put the pork on the bottom. It doesn't really matter a whole lot, to be honest with you. You just really have to worry about poultry, you know, but you didn't mention you're using any poultry. So I would say put the pork butt on the middle grade in the rubber smoky mountain and put your brisket on top of it, because the brisket's going to usually be done before the pork butt. And then when you pull the brisket off, you can always move the pork butt to the top. Now, I will tell you that middle grate right over the water, especially if you use water like I do in the pan, that middle grate's going to be about 20 to 30 degrees cooler than the top grate. All right, so just bear that in mind. It may take a little bit longer than normal if you're cooking on that middle grate. But again, once the brisket's done, you can always pull the pork butt up to the top, and you know, or you can wrap it and help it cook a little faster. You know, however you want to do it. But yeah, I would do brisket on top, pork butt beneath it. Thanks for the question, and I appreciate the support, Eric. Thank you, man. We got another Eric. Eric Swicks asking a question. How you doing, Eric? Eric says, I've been looking at a used Yoder loaded Wichita. Would you buy it again? In a heartbeat. He says, I know it's not as big as I really want, but I also want an offset. What are your pros and cons? If it's an older version of the Yoder Wichita like I had, you may have to keep the door on the firebox slightly ajar by an inch or so to help with airflow, so you get that thin blue smoke. I found on mine, if I closed the door all the way, a lot of times I wouldn't get the thin blue smoke. It would kind of smolder the fire a little bit too much. But I never found it to be an issue. And from what I hear, Yoder has corrected the placement of the firebox on the cooker so that you don't have to worry about that anymore. So if it's a newer version of the Wichita, then you're probably okay. If it's an older version, it'll still cook fantastic. I mean, I love the flavor of the meat come off of my Yoder Wichita. But you may just have to help the airflow a little bit by opening that door a little bit on the firebox. That's all. No biggie. I would strongly suggest it, though. It's a very, very good, well-built pit. Eric, let me see. We answered Eric, both Erics. Okay, next question we have, and this is the last one, folks, from Jeffrey Bordner. He says, how can one achieve a dark, thick bark on brisket when cooking on the Weber Smoky Mountain? And he says he uses a water pan. That depends on your rub. A lot of it has to do with your rub and if you spritz or not. And also how much smoke, okay? So those three things really help with the bark, okay, along with the water that you mentioned you're using. You know what, I'll tell you what, use your regular rub and compare that to something like Black Ops from Oak Ridge Barbecue. Try the Black Ops rub. That Black Ops for brisket is amazing. It's really, really good stuff from Oak Ridge Barbecue. And you will notice, usually you'll get a lot better smoke ring because of one of the ingredients in the rub. You will get that black bark, especially if you're using like 3 to 4 chunks of fist-sized chunks of wood chunks in your cooker. And I'm talking about using hardwood, not fruit wood. Use pecan, oak, hickory, maple, any of those hardwoods, okay? And the spritz. When you spritz your brisket after the rub sets on it, we were talking about that earlier. If you do spritz your brisket, that will also help get you that nice black licorice looking bark, which I usually get on my briskets because I'm usually spritzing with a darker fruit juice, not apple juice. Sometimes I do spritz with like some Worcestershire or some beef broth, but usually it's just a darker fruit juice, like grape juice or a combination of different fruit juices. I like the flavor of acai, or however you say it. So I use that in conjunction with like maybe some cranberry or some grape or something like that. Usually what I like are juices that are kind of a purple or a deep red color. Those are the juices that I like to use. I usually use those on my rubs, on my ribs too. I find that helps give you a nice darker bark color as well, because the sugars that are in this fruit juice will help caramelize and help flavor the brisket. You can use apple juice or whatever other juice you want. I just think that I prefer the darker juices myself. That's just personal preference though. All right, guys, how long we've been going here? We've been going about half an hour. That ain't bad. Answered quite a few questions. I got a whole slew of them from, I think it's episode 109. In fact, that's where these came from. So I'm still pulling questions. I had like over 70 questions from that one episode. But yeah, if I don't get to your question here in another episode or two, go ahead and ask it again. Just put your questions down in the comments section and I will add them to a future chat. I appreciate it. And again, I could not do this without all of you out there, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, I may not be uploading videos after this week for 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm just taking a little time off. Everything's fine, but just know ahead of time, I'll see you when I see you. Folks, hope y'all enjoyed this one. I appreciate the questions. If you like this, give them some thumbs up. If you're not subbed, go ahead and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And I hope you share the video. And when you do, please tell all your friends that TexJoy cooks responsibly. Cheers, everybody. We'll see y'all next time.